Hi guys, it's been a while. It's been a couple of months since I've posted anything, but I come bearing gifts. I come bearing great advice. In the time that I was gone, I crossed my 1-year anniversary of being a full-time entrepreneur. Yay. And I want to share with you guys what I've learned in these past 365 days of lots of pushing and learning and trying new things, and what I hope you can learn from my successes, and I wouldn't say failures, but they're just lessons. So for those of you that might be new here, hi, my name is Caitlin. I'm an Austin, Texas based marketing consultant. I specialize in brand strategy, marketing strategy, and I also offer a fractional CMO service. I primarily work with small businesses, and I create the strategy and I execute the strategy. Just to give a little bit of background about how I became an entrepreneur, I actually started my business, Resonate Studio, in 2017. So this was back when I was a freshman in college. So it was my first year in college. I knew I wanted to focus on the analytics and the strategy side of marketing, and that is where I knew my creativity would thrive. And I did freelance work all throughout college, all throughout having a full-time job, and at the end of 2023, October 2023, got laid off like most people do. And a lot of people say it's a blessing in disguise, and I have to say that is the exact case for me. I don't think I would have taken this risk otherwise. So October 2023, I was applying to jobs, looking for jobs, but nothing was really clicking. My friends were constantly sending me jobs, my dad was sending me jobs, and nothing was calling to me, and there were no mutual matches. So maybe I would like a job but they wouldn't like my resume, or I wouldn't like the job but like they reached out to me. There were so many combinations that just did not work, and for good reason in hindsight. So in, I believe, December, I decided to just go pedal to the metal and go for it with my own business. And that took a lot of persistence on my end, especially with identifying as an entrepreneur and telling people that this is really what I want to focus on and this is where I want to spend my time. So for the friends that were sending me still job applications, I had to really set that boundary where it's, look, I really appreciate what you're doing, but I'm going for my business and I'm just gonna put all of my time into my business. And I don't know that I would recommend this strategy where you just don't have a backup plan, but that's exactly what I did. I did not have a backup plan. I knew that my business had to work, and I made it work. In my first year of entrepreneurship, I enjoyed doing so much and trying so much. I enjoyed doing exactly what I wanted to do. So I only did work that I wanted to do. I only worked with businesses and organizations that I wanted to work with. I got to work with these amazing small businesses that were led by people that had the most beautiful stories, and I got to work with nonprofits that teach young women to become leaders in their careers, and I got to do pro bono work and work that really fulfilled me and lit me up. I also enjoyed getting to define what professional meant to me, and professional to me did not mean a button up and a blazer. It meant getting to show up on YouTube in a halter top. It was so freeing, getting to show up in however I want and being able to laugh on work calls and show my personality and have a good time and kiki with my clients. Like, it has been so amazing to just define what professional can and looks like for Caitlin. And by learning what professional looks like for me, I've also gotten to be able to define to others what professional looks like to them. So I've worked with personal brands and helping people find their way in a professional world in a way that is not overly traditional and does not cover their own personality. But of course, my favorite thing was finally feeling in control of my life. When I worked at previous jobs, I had a hard time telling people what I do. Whenever people asked, what do you do for work? I would stammer and I never knew how to describe it. Felt like it was not something that I wanted to identify with, and it wasn't a pigeonhole that I wanted to be stuck in for the rest of my career. I didn't feel that I had the flexibility to show my creativity, and I love that entrepreneurship, and by being a business owner, it has allowed me the freedom to show how life and career does not have to be separate. I don't have to be professional Caitlin 9 to 5 and then fun Caitlin 5 to 9. I can be all of Caitlin at all times. But there are some things that I would do differently, and I have drastically changed my business because of this. Not drastically. I've narrowed it down. I've niched down, as one might say. And that is that I would recommend to you starting a new business, whether you're a service provider or you're a product provider, but speaking as somebody that is a service provider, I would tell you not to offer all the things. I have worked in marketing agencies before, and just because I knew how to design and develop a website, just because I knew how to run ads and do social media management and do all the things, just because I knew how doesn't mean that I should have. So over the course of last year, there were a lot of services that I brought in, that I dropped, that I switched out, that I did degrees to, like maybe I did basic level website management all the way to like designing websites for people. And in October of 2024, my 1-year anniversary of my business, I sat down and I wrote down every single service that I offered over the past year, and I asked myself, did I enjoy doing this, and was it profitable? And if there was a service that I didn't feel was profitable, I just dropped it. Maybe it just wasn't getting asked for a lot. If there was a service that I didn't enjoy doing, and by enjoy doing, I realized that there were certain services that I would just procrastinate on. Like I had a deadline and I wouldn't do it until 2 days before the deadline. I could tell that my heart was not in it. And sometimes it just meant taking a break, but sometimes it also meant that I no longer offered that service. And there are some of these services that I still offer, but I now offer it selectively. So maybe I offer it to long-term clients, or I only offer it to friends and family. So it's very selective. And just to give you an example, a service that I stopped offering very early on, like in February of 2024, was website design. And website design, I loved it, and it's actually how I got into marketing back in 2017. I was designing websites and I loved it. It was like a puzzle, and I thought it was so fun, and then it wasn't. And so I was like, okay, let me take a break. And now website design is something that I do, but it is something that I offer to clients that I've already worked with. So I have brought it back, but to a certain degree. Social media management is something that I also dropped. So I dropped social media management back in, I think, June 2024, and I only brought it back in November of 2024. So I took a couple months off, but I realized that I do actually enjoy posting on social media, and that I do like being in different industries. So that is an offer that I did choose to bring back. Again, so much freedom in entrepreneurship. This is how I avoid burnout as well. So I am a solo entrepreneur. I believe it's called like a solopreneur. It's just me. I cannot burn out. If I burn out, my business burns out. I don't have any other support, and so I have to be wary of how I spend my time, where I spend my time, and what is going to maximize my efforts. Certain services, maybe I don't do the full brand strategy, for example. Maybe I offer a more condensed brand strategy, or maybe I don't offer all of the website and development. Maybe I just do website management, or for social media management, maybe I'm not creating the content. Maybe they send me the content already made and I just schedule it to post. So you can, if you want to, offer all the things, but you do have to be aware of how much time you're spending on it and if it's something that you want to do, because what you don't want is to ultimately hate a business or hate doing something that used to be a hobby for you. And that is another one of the points that I have written down here in my notes as a learning lesson, is that how do you avoid hating something that was once so fun for you? How do you avoid hating something that you've monetized and made it your livelihood, like your how you get money, you know? And ultimately it does come down to finding the degrees to what you're comfortable with offering. And then another big part of it is also ensuring that you're getting paid what you're worth. You cannot start small. I know starting small and offering cheap services seems easy because you're like thinking, who's gonna pay for this? And how much are they gonna pay? And you may update your prices every now and then. But if you are like me and you don't have a plan B, this is your only means of income, I highly recommend that you don't try to start at the bottom and then work your pricing up as you go. I highly recommend you just charge what you're worth. Just charge what you believe is going to make you continue to enjoy producing this. So let's say you enjoy knitting blankets, okay? Let's say you knit blankets and you're like, oh, it's just like a knitted blanket, maybe I should just charge like $12. But if you know that $12 is burning you out, then maybe you need to charge more so you actually feel that it's worth it and that it's worth your time. And there is a sliding scale to that. You know, you don't want to charge so low that it's not worth your time, but you don't want to charge so much that you're starting to feel like imposter syndrome and then you start to feel anxiety around your own business. You have to find that middle ground where it feels comfortable and that it's worth your time and that it's worth it. Another thing that I wish someone would have told me is, yes, you're an entrepreneur. You have complete control over your schedule. But it is so easy for your time to just disappear. So if you, let's say, for example, you're like, okay, like I can choose my own schedule. If you choose your own schedule, your work will just find you. You'll find yourself up at 10 o'clock at night working. So I highly recommend that you actually just set work hours for yourself. And maybe to start with, it actually is just 9 to 5. And then you can condense it, you can make it longer, you can just shift it. But I highly recommend you set work hours for yourself because you have to have some sort of structure. And one thing about being an entrepreneur that no one tells you is that some people, well, I'll speak for myself. I have to have systems in place set ahead of time. I cannot manage myself on the spot. And so I have apps like structured that allow me to time block. And what I do is I have reminders for every hour. Here's a new event. Start on client 1, end client 1. Start on client 2, end client 2. It gets so granular. Start your lunch. And it helps me manage my time so much. Me and time management. As a kid, all of my report cards were like, she could use better time management. So we have never been besties, but I learned very quickly after so many nights of staying up until 12 a.m., 1 a.m. that it was not sustainable. And you have to find what is sustainable. And yes, you will learn over time, but maybe for now, as you're starting out in your first year, it does help to have the same structure as corporate America. So just stick with your 9 to 5 until you find a flow that actually works for you. Something else that I wish I would have paid attention to earlier on in my entrepreneurial journey, and not paid attention to, but I think respected more, is my energy levels. So as a woman, we have different energy levels throughout the month, and there are certain times of the month that we have more energy, and there are certain times that we don't have as much energy. And the way that I run my business is so structured around my cycle. So when I naturally have more energy, that's when I have all my calls. So when I naturally have more energy, that's when I have all my calls. That's when I set my deadlines. That's when I try to do the most amount of work that I can to optimize the energy levels that I already have. And then when I have lower energy, I try to schedule less calls, less emails, less deadlines, because I know that I'm going to wear myself thin. And again, we can't burn out. And this goes the same for everyone, men as well. You can find the days of the week and the days of the month that you just naturally have more energy. If you know that you work really well Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then maybe you need to take Friday off, or maybe you need to do a half day on Friday. So it's totally up to you. Or who says we have to work Monday through Friday? Maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday works really well for you and you want to use Monday as your day off. I did that for a long time where I worked Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or just Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Again, you have free range over your schedule, but you do have to set that structure so that you can flow and work and create within a structure. So that's about how I structure my month. But how I structure my days, I actually use the help of ChatGPT for this. Now, I'm not the best prompter for ChatGPT, but I'm pretty savvy with it. And I went into ChatGPT and I told it, this is how much time I spend on client 1, client 2, client 3, etc. This is how much time I have to spend each week on admin work. This is how much time I have to spend on Monday and Friday on this specific client. Now, this other client, I have to work on them specifically Tuesday morning. And then I have a standing meeting Monday and Wednesday at this time. Given all of this information, write out an ideal week for me. And it did. And that is actually the week that I follow. And that is the week that I have actually put into structured. So whenever I get my hourly notifications, I know that it's an optimized week for me based on exactly how my business runs. So that way I can do as much as I can in my business, but also, and most importantly, have time to myself and have personal time and have time for self-care, because you don't want to lose that time. That is how you burn out. You burn out when you don't have a break. And you also have to be able to switch your brain off, which is really hard. But you have to be able to switch your brain off whenever you are not working. If you're not on office time, if you're not on office hours, then your brain needs to not be thinking about work as much as possible. And I know in that first year, you're almost obsessive about your business and it's all you think about, it's all you talk about. But you do have to continue to spend time by yourself. You have to go touch some grass outside. You have to spend time with friends and family. You still have an entire life outside of this and you have to find that balance. And I, 1 year in and just finding that balance, and it was heads down all last year. And now I'm finally at a point where I can balance my life and balance my work without feeling like I'm being torn apart. The final thing that I wish someone would have told me is to keep costs down. Now, just like there's lifestyle creep, I believe there is business creep. You see all of these software and they have all of these amazing solutions, and you want to pay for the Google ads and you want to pay for the Instagram boosted posts, but sometimes working with what you have is what is going to be successful and work for you, especially in the first year. You don't need all of the tools to run your business. You don't need all the software to run your business. You don't need employees to run your business. I highly recommend you work with what you have. And the benefit of this is that you get to learn how to manually do things before you offload it. So working within Google Drive, which is totally free, using free software that is already available or the free trials that are available to you before you have to upgrade. Really make sure that you like the software and the thing or the person that you're about to hire. And I know you can't do free trials with employees, but just make sure that you can do everything in your business, or at least have the know-how before you try to offload it, because sometimes it might be easier than you think. I'm so excited to be back on YouTube, and speaking of balance, I am going to have a more balanced presence on this channel. You will start seeing all aspects of my life. So I will be sharing my business and my personal life. You're going to see what Caitlin at 25 years old, business owner, entrepreneur, cat mom, what that looks like, and I can't wait to share that with you guys. So some things that you'll be seeing are definitely vlogs, so I'll take you through my days and what that looks like and how I use my little habits to avoid burnout and to have a more balanced life. Before you go, please like, subscribe, and share this video with someone that is in their first year of entrepreneurship and you think could benefit from these tips. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.